Good morning. Welcome back to Building a House from Trees. Welcome to the beginning part of the finale, the kind of final wrap-up. It's been about a year since I put a video out. Sorry for the long delay. I've been working on this video for a while now, and this is the first 2 or 3 seasons, I don't remember, but kind of culminating with the raising and getting the roof on for the season. So this is just it's about an hour long. There'll be 1 or 2 more of these at some point, and it's just a total wrap-up. It's weird. It's weird to look back on the whole project, you know, as a whole from the beginning, and it's a lot of work. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the extravaganza of the Building a House from Trees series, the first part, a decade ago. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. And it's still recording!
Just setting on the snow.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice. Yeah,
They were, they measured 18 inches.
Really?
Yeah,
You had 124, I remember, Joe.
My benevolent neighbor Jeff, who owns this excavator, worked out a trade with me to let me use this for 4 or 5 days, clearing the driveway down to the spot where I'm going to be building my timber frame small house, white pine, and really this was the hardest one, maybe half an hour of work to get this out. And this here is a giant old sugar maple that we used to tap when I was a little kid that fell dead, just an ancient thing, and finally moved that out of the way and broke through the stone wall into the field where I'm going to be building. Perfect. About 16 and a half, 17 foot long pine that I cut out of the driveway. See in this video here. Taking this down to the sawmill at Billy's, and I'm hoping I take it down there with this 96 F-150 Sport without a problem. You know, ideally, this would be done with a machine, but
Hey, come over on this side.
It's a big pile of rocks. It's an inch and a half, something, crushed stone. And I've got to lay that down in there to facilitate drainage for the footing drains. Those pipes over there. So I got to do that on the inside and the outside, and I figure I have to dig down just a little bit first. But this is the exterior footing drain. It's gonna all flow out anyway. It's pretty obvious at this point. I have no idea what I'm doing, isn't it? It's good stuff. It's good to learn as you go, I guess. With weird rubberized tar. I believe in the parlance of concrete work, it's called dam proofing. Basically putting a waterproof layer on the outside of the foundation. Ooh, almost tripped there. Prior to putting up the 2-inch rigid foam insulation. So I'm going to be tamping the substrate. I don't know what it's called. I'm going to tamp this, compact it, because the slab's going to sit on that. It's going to be the bottom of the slab. Little guy. It's a rock. Can you believe that somebody was throwing this away? The street value of this silt fence. Bobo, come here. Come here, Bobo. See how this one right here is a nice piece of wood, but it's got a lot of knots. This one's really clean. So knots are weaknesses in a beam. I'm going to be using those 2x8s for the floor joists. So here's what I got done yesterday. This is half the floor. Hoping to get the other half done mostly today. Should be a little quicker. I'm a little bit better at it than I was yesterday. Numero uno. Well, come on in. Inside, there's an indoor space now. As you can hear, a little bit of echoing. But it's pretty neat. It's well, I'm getting more trees for the house from trees. Woo! Giddy up. It's a great tractor. It's fabulous. But it doesn't have a bucket or any way to lift these giant logs. Listen to it, it's just purr. 60 years old. And with this farming winch connected to this trailer, I'm able to drag these on. I mean, having that hillside helps, but... first of all, welcome, Mr. Huxley, and secondly, what does that mean, a house from trees? Yeah, something like this. Now, this here, this will be the, this is the basement. The big opening in the basement facing out would be east. So looking this way is looking towards the west, and this big side would be south facing. These timbers here would be about 20 feet tall. These are 16. These are about 12, and go out to a post here and possibly drive-in sort of parking area in here. Mr. Huxley, how long do you plan on taking to build this quote-unquote house from trees? Well, Mr. The Frog, I expect this to not be that fast of a process. So it's going to take a few years, I think. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to showing you more of this, and I look forward to At some point in the not too distant future, reporting from the incredibly well-insulated, well-lit confines of this house from trees. Confines of this house from trees.
Just move it down a little bit.
Like a Russian trapper's cabin. I've never been to Russia, I'm sorry. I enjoy sitting here and sanding on these little trinkets that I'm making. Like a simpleton.
So we have 2 on the outside with braces to the edge. And we should have the exact same thing, the short version.
This year's plan is to get the, for this summer, this season before the snow flies, is to get the frame up. Ideally I'd get the roof on and get the driveway done. So we've got a little more excavation time. I have to put a frost wall in out here. Stay tuned, there will be more coming.
He's a drill guy.
Yes. There it is. So I'm going to transfer all this information onto that post. But first I'm going to square up the bottom. Priority numero uno, because that gives me a point of reference for all these measurements. Oh, I wish you could smell that. That is glorious. So once I start on kind of full-on production of these, I'll be augering most of these out with a drill bit, and then just kind of cleaning up the corners. But for old time's sake, I'm using a chisel. There it is. It's June 29th, 2017, and this is my inaugural cut into the timber frame of the house from trees. Moving wood. It's the first post. First post is complete. Up there. What's left is a 6x6. And that's gonna go up there in that corner. It's gonna sit in those 2x2s. 2x2, 2x8s. This is a through mortise for the spline. 10, 11, 12. So 11 more of these to go, of varying sizes. Well, this is the third post I've done. This is going to stand right there on that corner of the foundation. Just a little touch up. Too close to the driveway. I need to make it a little wider. Couple posts, supports, braces, whatever. It's working. Reason to measure thrice and cut once. I mismeasured everything for the umpteenth time, so I'm glad I double checked before I cut. And we're off. 9 minutes versus 20. So that's a great deal faster. This I cut this year, this summer. This is all red pine, it's a different species, so it cuts a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. Well, I just felled probably the last girt, like the last flat, long piece of wood that I'm gonna be needing to mill. I got a couple more pieces I need to mill, but this is gonna be a really big, really heavy, I think really beautiful 8 by 12, 16-foot long red oak. I alluded to it last week, and I did a little work on this bad boy and got it running. Actually, it was running. I just changed some fluids and I pulled out the stump of that big pine tree that I felled for more beams and to widen out the driveway. And now I'm going to do a little earthwork around the foundation with it. It's a spectacular old beast. Big rocks in here continue this along. Yep. I got clean sand under there. Clean sand I was talking about. Clean sand. Clean sand.
Yeah.
Do I need more, better draining stuff there?
I would up higher.
Okay. I'm gonna ditch along this edge right here and then get loads of gravel, crushed rock, to put on the surface of the driveway and kind of run it over and pack it in so it locks together. But I want the water from the rain and the snow melt to run down this side to a culvert, which I'll put in down there. Primitive man could do it, I can do it. Not that the Egyptians were primitive, just a long time ago. I like to figure out what I want facing down, because this is kind of going to be the ceiling from the first floor looking up. This is going to be the ceiling, whatever this is. I mean, the lower, like the underside of this girt is going to be exposed. So I want it kind of interesting and weird, just because I think interesting is, well, it's interesting. They're still green, and they're probably going to shrink just a little bit, and it's easier to just run a slick the day that I'm putting the bents together and just shave off a little bit if need be. Bucket. Nice little tester. Bobo, say hi. So I spent all of Tuesday working on the driveway, putting in this upslope ditch, and it came out pretty well. And just before we got 3 or 4 inches of rain, I had intended on finishing this drainage and blew a hydraulic line in the John Deere 350. I tell you what, between this, that, the posts, it's enough to make my hair fall out. Let's see if I can figure out what's wrong with that big old dinosaur. Working around the foundation, my friend Carl Gifford from Sebago Stonework came by for 2 days last week. I've been plugging away at the driveway, bringing in 3" minus crushed granite, and I'm nearly done that. I've got the ditch, the trench dug out for the frost wall, which is going to support the whole front of the house, the big 22 plus foot posts, the 4 posts in the front. And I've just been still plugging away at the big oak girt, the 8x12. So this week I'm making a push to get the roof, the top plates of the frame done. And so this notch, this is 2 inches wide and 2 inches deep, and this happens to be 2 feet long or 2.6 or something. The splines that are going through the posts, the uprights, are going to, this is going to sit down on top of them and kind of lock it all into place. So this in this case, this is part of the roof system, but the floor system is the same design. And these all run east-west in the frame. This is my little kit that I have for routing. Also, I just made this mallet out of a big chunk of locust from that firewood pile. If you're ever feeling overwhelmed and hot, go for a swim. It's highly recommendable. Gaining on it. Nice motorcycle. I am burying a concrete form here that I made out of a salvaged mural, plywood with Vantech, and it's wrapped up in strapping. It's pretty exciting. This was an idea from Henry, from Henry's Concrete, who you saw in previous clips, and I get to bury a cloud. This took about an hour. It's really satisfying having kind of all these done and ready to go. Set up the form to pour the concrete. This crew was there the next day, filling in this 8-inch, 8-foot deep trench in Coleman concrete. There they are. Phenomenal as always. Later, but this went really well. And there it is. Let it set up for 24 hours. Pretty impressive new piece of rock. So my neighbor, who knows a little bit about everything, fantastic help, came by and helped me install the sewer drain before I began backfilling with the fill that I had taken out of the trench for the frost wall. So this is my neighbor again. He spent a lot of time with me this week. I was I'm amazingly fortunate to have his help. Should have the saw down at the other end. Absolute wealth of knowledge, and he kind of came by at an opportune time to he answers so many questions that I don't know the answer to, because he used to be a builder and he knows what he's doing. It's really, really lucky that he's willing to spend some time with me. So this is going to be the front of the house. It's pretty satisfying getting some carpentry done finally. That was free. This is this is about right where I discovered that I buried this box of concrete in about the wrong spot. It needed to be back towards the foundation about 6, maybe 8 inches. So we spent the better part of the morning doing that, moving that, and I didn't need to film it, but I did need to mention it. Mistakes are made.
Go! Holy shit, we're done!
But then
I don't know
this.
about that. No, we're done!
And so I got a 22.5 foot long, 10-inch deep, 11.5-inch wide beam that should hopefully be able to hold up the world, because this is going to have some serious point loading. I've got about 20 12-inch carriage bolts in set.
Hey.
I'm going to ride up with you.
Alright.
Because I'm going to eat some lunch.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna.
And here, what we were working on was connecting this 8x12 girt, which is going to support the floor and kind of be the ceiling of the first floor, and work from a specific edge. And so this is just tuning up the shoulder. Basically, this is Matt. As he said, this isn't the first one that he's done. It's really exciting. This is the first actual assembly of any of the frame, any of the bent work that has happened on the house from trees. So I cut them all at about 10 inches,
and here's one all cut up. If any of you viewers know a better way, please let me know. I'd love to hear it, and I don't own a lathe.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, only 150 more to go.
Yeah, and so down here at the job site, basically I just kind of cleaned up a little bit recently, and I'm going to start preparing for blocking and setting up the bents and assembling the bents. So stay tuned, it's about to get more exciting. I'm glad you're watching. Moved it all down to the job site, down to where I'm building the house. All the beams and posts and girts and 1x and 2x stock. So that is all down there, and that's a huge relief. Thank you very much.
That makes sense. It's getting hung up there. God, that's a dirty lens. Can't imagine why. Seems unreal, but they're identical. Really doesn't seem correct. Haha! Oh, that is nice. That is really nice. That's awful exciting. They fit really tightly, they're square, they're really solid, the shoulders fit. Yes, that's very nice. Well, those were the first two. I'm gonna get faster at them, but I got some work to do before the 1st of November, the first weekend of November. Here it comes. But gorgeous weather, just glorious weather. I'm gonna plug away and getting that those last two measured and tuned in, and then I'll have this first bent ready to be put in the air. Golly, that's exciting. Holy moly. Wow. Square and everything, huh?
Yeah, so way back when I casually mentioned bent, and this here, this little grainy, fuzzy, low quality picture, this is what I mean. This is bent number 1, and it's actually the last bent we're going to be raising in a couple weeks. Out of the 4, there's 4 of these, and this is the western wall. Hey, tune in next week. There's a lot more of this coming, and it's getting exciting. Welcome back to A House from Trees, the series in which you watch me bumble through the building of a timber frame house in the woods of Maine.
Pegged! That's not going anywhere now. Oh my goodness. Pegs in. That was kind of stressful for me, but took all my measurements, everything's square, everything's lined up. You know, for bus Huxley work, it's pretty darn good. I mean, 1/4 inch out over here. That's acceptable in my world. It's a house from trees after all. Look, live edge. Woo! Balanced. Look at that. That's funny. This is, I mean, probably 1,000 pounds. I don't know. Just dense. Some might say like Bus Huxley. Dense.
One more full week of work, and I'm looking good, right on schedule, and I'm actually making a quick trip out of state to pick something up, and I'm going to film it, and I'm going to show you if it goes well, and I'm not going to show you if it doesn't go well, so stay tuned for next week. More just finishing up, getting everything ready, and then the week after, or 2 weeks, it's going to be the big day. And this is just the kind of the tweaking, the little tiny, just smidgens, tons and tons of tweaking to get these bents perfectly square and plumb. Lots of measurements before I drill and anchor, and I'm anchoring them with those white oak wood nails, those 1 inch thick pegs that I made with help from Jeremy over there at Red House. And that's what this is all about, just lining everything up, taking diagonal measurements, making sure everything is super square and, you know, consistent, and measuring, and then once I drive these pegs, that's it, it's locked. Shedding water and transferring water from one side of the hill to the other. The road's rock solid, no runoff, no erosion, big plus. So it pays to pay, I guess, for quality material. So setting up these, getting the oak splines that the floor and roof is going to sit on, getting them tuned up, getting the edges beveled, getting them planed down to a little bit undersized for my mortises, my through mortises. I want there to be slop and some movement on the day that we put the frame up, so they just go in and everything just kind of sits together. So taking a lot of specific measurements. This was hours and hours and hours of tweaking these. As you can see, I've got about a horse-sized pile of chips there. It was pretty fun though. It was manufacturing, but getting them all precise and all lined up about the same was pretty nice, and it smelled good.
This side's kind of doing its own thing. So if we have 2 lift, put and block, and then this is just hitting out. It just wants to one 8x on top, and
Okay.
look at that.
What are we, timber firmer?
Something.
Jesus. Let's just stand this thing up.
These last 2 weeks have been an incredibly hard push to get all these bents dialed in, assembled, get all the little weird details tweaked and remembered and lined up and prepared. Just being ready and prepared for the day of the raising, with people coming, with a crane coming, fine-tuning all these last bits of planing. My friend Jeremy came over, put in a heroic weekend and of prepping and getting ready. We were working until the wee hours of the night. Well, here we go. Today's the day. I'm gonna wrap up and finish some planing, and everyone's gonna start arriving, and pretty soon we're gonna be putting that frame up in the air.
What we're going to be doing is, you all know there's a crane coming, and we're going to be lifting up these bents. These like walls, this leaning thing, that's one bent, and that's another bent, that's another bent, and there's another bent. There's 4 of them in total. And we're going to be lifting those vertically, 8 feet apart in the front, 10 feet, 10 feet. Matt Burke here, he's going to be kind of running the show. He's got a booming voice. He's done this countless times, and if you have any questions, you run them through him. Everything is pretty much deferring to him.
Strap off of. We've got the cleats across with big lag bolts in it, shouldn't be any problem, but the first thing is going to be watching the stress on those as it starts to lift. The center has some gusseting in the middle to keep it from wanting to flex in too much, but we're going to have a couple people on that middle post keeping pressure, trying to keep it up with the crane pulling up the outer ones. Shouldn't be much, it should just go along with it. 2 in the middle post, 1 on each outer post, and then the 3 of us at the bottom to start with. I don't want to, you know, as they go up and we know that everything's working well, then...
Hey, you want to just pass it through?
Nope.
Square head.
Oh, it's the tenon.
Did we turn that up?
Nope. Is it gonna fit?
Tim, you're going to be
Steer that. Yep. Just watch the ends and stuff. It's gonna move on you guys. Just let it flow.
It's gonna compress now.
Is there an extra hole in the brace? Here it comes.
Bring down this end.
There it is. All right.
Comes that way anyway.
Can't shake.
Hold it. Just hold still. Just...
Can't shake.
Is the bottom waiting or try to come to me if you can. I know you can't go too far.
He was the calmest guy here. He's like a life flight helicopter pilot. Golly.
Congratulations!
Nothing to it.
It's so fun to watch you work.
Almost kind of makes me miss
work.
it.
I
Me
bet.
too.
I bet.
Good crew. Holy shit.
So on the outside, but if we do that, we're talking about because we're going to have to use ladders. While this is before, we're going to use ladders to get up there. So we can hold those up right now, roughly where they want to
Dude, perfect. And they're so spread that we don't really have to.
Hey Carl, you're gonna hand me that saw.
Can you hand me that mallet, that wood mallet there? There it is.
Just like that.
Stop there. Yeah, I'll stop there. I'll let them fine tune it when they get up there.
Catch. Can you catch that end? Got it.
So this is the middle.
So everybody make sure this is in the middle.
Wait, hold on, I gotta.
Don't have your thumb.
No. Pretty good.
You move it out.
No, just that one just needs a little square. Just square. Thanks. We'll try it like that and see what happens. To me, maybe. Yep. This one's gonna go back. Not all the way this way, so I think the post is tipped in.
It was for a bracelet. I know. Cool, right?
Could just drop down a little.
I was just gonna say, Matt, we could cut
Mallet.
Oh, we got it.
You got it?
Matt is a mallet.
There you go. Matt's the human mallet. I got chisel to come down.
Yeah.
Okay. But right now, it's we split the difference.
So what do you think? Yeah.
Mortise on that one,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it is where it is.
Yeah.
And then we'll just bring that one in until it's centered.
Miracle.
Well, if you're gonna do that, check. I mean, this is still slightly out.
I think
Watch
it might be cooking
this
now.
whole thing is gonna, Gardner. This whole thing is gonna rack like this, right?
Yeah.
And that's the idea.
I
This
think
is
that's
still-
going to close that gap.
Well, there you have it. In spite of my best efforts of mismeasuring and miscutting, it went together shockingly well. I'm incredibly touched, and I want, at the turnout and the generosity that my these people that showed up to work, they put a full day of work and really hard, skilled, intense work in, and laughed about it the whole time and joked around and just did it. What's next? And it was absolutely incredible. That was without question, the most amazing part of the day was the group of people that showed up and hammered through this. Watching Matt Burke run a scene like that, run a frame raising, is just it's a spectacle to behold. And the heroic effort that Jeremy put into the weekend was amazing. And on top of the bents, and manufacturing these was not quite as fast as I thought it was going to be, but once I got into the swing of things, they started kind of coming together nicely.
Oh, that is a nice fit. Holy crap, that is perfect.
I tried a couple different ways to get these massive green hemlock 2x12 rafters up onto the frame alone, and one of the ways I tried, I ended up nearly separating my shoulder. So I was able to contact Henry from Henry's Concrete, and he was pulling a wall with his crane nearby, and swung in and spent about 10 or 15 minutes to lift, I don't know, 4,000 pounds of wood up high and nearly effortless. Being up there and catching them was kind of hair-raising, but I wasn't really catching them.
So like that. And how far is it going? Right flush with the
Right
end?
flush.
Hold on, I'm gonna.
Because that's all I know.
Because I'm gonna.
Okay, lifting it up.
Okay, I see that's
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, you get up here at first and you're like, oh, it's kind of sketchy.
You may have noticed that there's a gap in the rafters. Old boss never was all that handy with the arithmetic, and I miscalculated the number of rafters I needed being fixed, and I'm going to get the rest of them up there tomorrow. So, classic Bus Huxley. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Cafe Nomad, Scott Burke for helping, and Ben Bruns. It's been awesome. It's been great working with you guys. Thank you.
Whales mating.
Scott from Brill Lumber delivered this and was kind enough to lift it up and kind of set it up on the rafters. This roof on is the Prairie numero uno. And the days are short and cold, and there's ice a lot up on these rafters from time to time. And I really gotta choose my days, and boy, the North Woods.
While holding the shelter logic. Shelter logic.
I got a story for you. Do one pretty full length one. You don't want wind getting up and under that.
Those from tarps. Anyway, here we go. Alright, well, here goes. I'm gonna turn the key and press the starter button, and it should turn over. If not, we'll look somewhere else for the problem, but I know I've got a rebuilt starter that was evidently in rough shape, so it should go. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Heck yeah. It's not summer anymore, is it? My intention was to get the holes dug for the piers that are going to hold up the posts of the extension for the two-car portico kind of garage that I'm going to build in the spring. And that's part of why I'm going to be cutting more wood. But it turns out, as you can see here, well, I planned on digging those 4 holes, but I couldn't get the starter motor fixed in time, and the digging is just too hard. The ground's too frozen for that rig to get through. So either wait till it thaws a little bit, which I don't think is going to happen, or wait till spring. So that's fine. I can get the wood cut.
I'm gonna work on thinning those out through the winter, here and there, until the snow gets too deep for the old Ford 641 Workmaster.
What I did there, I put those 2x8s up because I want to move the whole floor system 2 inches up. A little bit more headroom down below, down on the first floor. And, you know, I realized I did all this work, cutting, milling, planing, notching these beams and posts. And if I put the floor joists right flush, they're just going to be buried. So, what the heck? Might as well see them. It's only a little bit more effort. The beginning of the floor, the second story floor. I don't know. As I progress with this process, I think it's going to be handy to be able to look back on videos and moments and things that I've done. Basically, you know, I even looking back at burying the footing drain and the pipes and all that stuff, I can see if I messed up or if something goes wrong in the future. I can be like, well, was it because of this? Oh, right, you connected that. Well, I anticipate at some point being able to kind of cite these videos as a reference if something comes up. And that's pretty neat. Plus, you know, if I'm ever old, being able to just press play and watch the entire process happen without remembering all the pain and suffering and sweat that went into it. I love getting a new video out. It's fun. I like the deadline, and I really appreciate all the comments and feedback and that core group of people. You know who you are that watches every one of these. So I love it. It's great. Boy, oh boy. That's great, Buzz. Thanks for taking the time to talk this morning. I hope to see you a year from now, sitting by the wood stove down here, relaxing with a cup of tea or coffee. Yeah, it'll be a lot nicer to be sitting by a wood stove, Kermit. Thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you in about a year. Thanks. Hey! Woo! House from trees!